Dave Tosch, Executive Director, Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity Center. Today I'm with Blake Gregory. He is the leader of the Prostate Cancer Support Group that's been meeting here. Well, not recently, but they are still meeting on Zoom. But they were started meeting here a couple years ago, I believe. Nice sized group. Blake came to me and asked me if we had some space available for them to conduct their meetings, and it worked out really well. And I was very, very impressed with the amount of turnout and how well organized it was. And it's a very important element of what we're trying to do in our community, which is support groups and people able to sit down and talk to one another about things they might have in common. But anyway, Blake, tell us just a little bit more about your group.
Well, I actually got involved in the group after I found out I had prostate cancer. And that was either in 2012 or 2013. And I was just looking in the dark. I had no idea what to expect, what to look forward to. And after my surgery, I saw a poster in Confluence Health, and it talked about a prostate cancer support group. And I thought, well, I'll give it a try. So this Wednesday, I went down there and a little nervous and walked into this room full of mostly men and sat down, and I made several friends, and it was such a relief, Dave, to talk to people that shared my experience. And I was hooked.
Yeah.
And
well, the group has been meeting for how many years? The group that you're leading now has been meeting for quite some time, I think.
Well, yeah, like I say, I joined in 2012.
Yeah.
And at the time they were meeting in Leavenworth. Until
yeah.
we were fortunate enough to come here and have a place at the senior center.
So you've been very involved because you became the leader.
I became the leader.
Tell us a little more about why you're taking that on.
Well, it kind of goes back to when I first was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I was totally shocked. I was not expecting anything like this. And I got a phone call from one of my wife's coworkers. Never met him, had no idea who he was. And he said, "You don't know me, but my name is such and such." And he says, "I had prostate cancer." And he says, my goal in life is to pay it forward. And he started talking to me about it, what I could expect, different types of things. And I just loved that. And it was at that point that I decided, I want to pay this forward too. Once I've gone through my journey and everything, I'd like to do that. So when Dr. McIntyre left the group and moved to Montana, does the group fold or do we stay? And I volunteered, and I said I wouldn't mind a co-leader. And John Scholl, he volunteered to do it with me right away. And it's been a very rewarding experience for the entire group since then.
So prostate cancer is pretty common in our society, and I think most of us have probably known family members or friends that have had prostate cancer or have it. And I've also heard that if you live long enough, you're prone to getting prostate cancer at some point. So that's why it makes it pretty common in our society. And so, there's a lot of people that maybe didn't get tested early enough, and sometimes it can be a very fast-paced diagnosis in terms of spreading through the body rather quickly. So the folks that are coming to your meetings, is there any kind of typical person that has prostate cancer, or are all the situations a little different?
Well, that's probably what's made it the most interesting, is everybody has a different story. I don't know if you're familiar with PSA or whatever, but that's how they caught mine. Mine was, if I would have went to the doctor and had my blood drawn and they would have looked at my PSA, it was entirely in the normal range. But because the doctor I had when I got my physical every year saw it just bumping up a little bit each year, that's when she said, maybe you should visit your urologist. And, well, a urologist, I didn't have one. And that's how it all started. I went to Dr. Gibbons and did a biopsy. We agreed that was the course to take. And he did it, and I remember his words after we were done. He said, "It all looks good. I don't think we'll have any problems." A week later, you go in for the follow-up, and I'm thinking of it as a couple hours off work, meet the urologist, and
Sure.
and he says, Blake, he says, you're only going to hear half of what I tell you today. Well, that's strange. He says, you have cancer. And then at that point, my whole life changed. So
I know that I've had some friends that, and just recently, Tomas Sandoval joined your group.
Yes.
Right when you first started meeting here, I believe. And he had an interesting story, and I spent a lot of time talking to Tomas, and he was admitted into a research study, as I recall, over in the Seattle area, and it was just really interesting to listen to his story. And so you're right. I guess every story is a little different, and that's why the support group is probably really important to people, so that they know that they're not, in a situation that somebody else hasn't
Right.
already been through, and being able to sit down and chat about it all, I imagine, is really important to people. I think the thing that I was impressed about the most with your group is it was almost like a coffee clutch group, where you came in, you had your coffee and maybe some donuts and things,
Yep.
but it was well attended every time you met. People seemed to be very devoted to it. Is there anything you can pinpoint that caused that to go on like that? Was it your leadership, or what would you say caused that group? Because we tried to start one here before you, Dr. Carl Kobeck, who was the head of the wellness place. He
Right.
was the chair. And he came to me and said, I think we need a men's prostate support group. And he kind of helped us get it started. It just didn't go anywhere. I don't know.
he was one of my biggest supporters, actually. After he came, and I asked him if he would speak. And then he was so impressed with the dynamics of the group. And it was great having guest speakers like him, or we also had speakers from Confluence come, physical therapists come. We even had a yoga instructor come, how that could benefit you with prostate cancer. But the group was building on itself. Right before our last meeting, the month before, I took a group picture because I wanted that in the thing, and we had 20-some people there. And it was. I look at that picture from time to time, but everybody, you made friends in that group. I mean, there was a pretty good core, about 20 people that I could call up right now, and they'd be sitting with me to do this. I mean,
So how did the newcomers find out about you?
mostly through Confluence and word of mouth. The wellness place started also referring. In fact, they were asking, how can we support you? What can we do? Do you need money? Or I said, no, we don't need money. We just, want to get the word out that we're doing this.
Yeah.
The same with Confluence and each of us. But we did put some posters out throughout town. And like you said earlier, Dave, prostate cancer is one of the most common types of cancer out there right now, and very common among men. So,
Now, is the group just for men?
no. In fact, anyone that has an interest in prostate cancer is welcome to attend. We have several couples that attend each month that are couples, men and women. And my wife comes to every single meeting, and I think the group is almost as important to her as it is to me. We also have one gentleman who comes almost every month, and he doesn't even have prostate cancer, but he comes for the information. And it's all different types of treatments that men are going through. And I'll tell you, if you have something like this and you can talk to somebody else that has experienced the same thing, it's very powerful, very...
Now, it's interesting to me that, we've been closed for about a year now, and yet you continue to meet through Zoom meetings. And we've got a few of our groups here that have been able to do that. Our writers group is the first one I think of when I mention that. Tell us a little bit about how you're able to continue to meet through Zoom meetings, and how somebody might be able to join you through
Sure.
that.
I have we have a mailing list. 2 days prior to the meeting each month, I send out an email, and there's probably 150 people on that list. And excuse me, since we can't meet in person, we were trying to figure out how can we keep the group. There was so much momentum going into last February. I mean, we were just excited about it. I know every month we grew, and getting phone calls from guys. I mean, it just, the excitement's probably not the right word, but the enthusiasm to learn more and to participate was good. So for our church, I happen to do a Zoom meeting every week for a small group I belong in, so I'm fairly familiar with it. So we send out the link, and we have it, so all somebody has to do is click on the link, and there they are.
So if somebody's listening right now and they would like to join your group through Zoom, what would you tell them to do to
If they could
to
just
connect?
contact me, because I'd have to send them that link, and I'll get them on my email list, and they'll get that letter each month, and they'll get the Zoom link and instructions on how to get on.
Okay.
So I would say my demographic group may not be the most technologically
Yeah.
advantaged people. But I've made it so it's pretty simple. If you got an iPad or a computer, click on a link, you should be able to get on there.
Now, you don't have a website yet or any of that, right?
Don't have a website, no.
Okay. Would you mind giving out your email?
Absolutely. I'm going to spell it if that's okay.
Yeah.
It's Prostate Support Group, but it's PROSTATESUPTGRP@gmail.com. And if they want to call me, is it all right if I give my phone number? 509-860-5710. And they can text me, and I'll get them on the list, get their email from them. So that's probably the easiest.
No, I just think it's neat that you're able to continue to do the Zoom meetings.
Well, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you, Dave, and I mean that. I mean the Senior Center allowing us a place to do this.
Yeah. Well, I tried to help the other group, and I just saw a very viable group, and I thought, we need to find some room for these folks. And I think it's important. Anyway, it's great to have you here today, Blake. I really think that what you're doing is important for our community, and there's folks out there that would love to talk to someone or others that are going through all these experiences, and having the Zoom meetings for those of you that can tune in to a Zoom meeting through your computer or laptop. You can even use one of these smartphones to connect with the Zoom meeting, or just call in by phone. Anyway, contact Blake, and he'll get you all connected up and get you in part with the group.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Really appreciate the opportunity to do this.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks for your time, Blake.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Can't
it.
wait to get back in touch in person.